I'm concerned.
I want some nasty. Are we having fun yet?
Guys, I would be lying if I said I wasn't concerned about Ja Morant. So first and foremost, I do want to say this. He's a phenomenal talent, okay? Superstar, easy. Hopefully one day he will be a Hall of Famer. And I definitely believe that he will eventually bring the Memphis Grizzlies a ring, whether it be this year or a few years from now. It's going to happen, okay? He has that championship mentality, and I think that the Memphis Grizzlies can kind of grow that team around him. You know, and his team right now plays well with him. But with that being said, there is one thing about his game that I think is very glaring, and I think it's definitely going to hurt him if he doesn't get a hold of it right now. Now, what am I talking about? I am talking about Ja Morant's tenacity getting to the rim. Now, don't get me wrong. There's plenty of highlight film. There's plenty of ESPN clips. There's plenty of top 10s, and they're exciting to see. They're super cool to watch. And being at a game, which I've been to a few Ja Morant games, I will say he's phenomenal. He's very entertaining. He's a great talent. But I will say that at his height, at his size, he has two options, okay? And the way that he plays, it's very similar to some people that we've seen in the past. Now, I think that he's a hybrid of a few players, but one thing in particular, one thing that we can all just kind of gravitate towards is he plays similar to people like Russell Westbrook. He plays similar to guys like Derrick Rose. But the problem that I'm seeing with Ja Morant is that he can sometimes have the mentality of Russell Westbrook with the body frame of Derrick Rose. Now, I know that seems like an insult, especially when I say that he has the mindset of Russell Westbrook. Not necessarily, okay? Russell, I feel like sometimes, I'm not going to go in on it, but sometimes I feel like he's a little delusional as far as him thinking that he's helping the team, and he's really not. And I don't think Ja Morant is in that boat by any means. But one thing that they are very similar in, they can slash to that rim. They can get really nasty around that rim. But with that being said, that's not going to necessarily help you in the long run. Your body will break down and will not be able to withstand hits in the paint. And what I saw from Ja this past game is that Ja Morant, I will say, just honest, I just have to be completely honest, he was really ramming his way into the paint in the fourth quarter. When he got tired, it got really bad. So I want to bring up some stats here, and I just want to try to put this in perspective, because some people might say, well, you know, it's his game, but he's not doing it that often, is he? It's crazy. So here's this season, all right, this regular season, and as you can see, I went ahead and said how many field goal attempts, you know, percentage wise, is less than 5 feet from the basket. Giannis is number 1 at 9.3, LeBron James is at 9, and Ja Morant is at 8.6. And then next after him are 3 other big men, and then Russell Westbrook. That's not going to fly. That's just not going to work. Now, don't get me wrong. It's crazy that he's able to get to the rim as much as he can. There's another player that I want to compare as well in a second, and that's amazing. Don't get me wrong. That's great. But at the same time, you do not want your point guard getting to the rim this amount of times. Now, sure, his efficiency around the rim is much better than Russell Westbrook's, about 10% better than Russell Westbrook's this season. But at the same time, he's way too small. He's sitting here about 6'3". Wingspan is exact same as Derrick Rose. Height is really close to Derrick Rose's, but even his weight is much lower than Derrick Rose's. I think he's sitting at around 170 pounds right now, 177 maybe. Like he doesn't have a lot of pounds on him, and him going in the paint, flying through the air is going to hurt him. Now, I don't have to even do what ifs, because if you go through his history, his injury history, just over this past season, it's there. He's been getting hurt quite a bit. He missed a total of 25 games this season. The season prior, he missed about 19. And then the season before that, I think it was about 15, 15, 13. I think it's 15. Yeah, my math is right. It's 15. So as you can see, yeah, it's getting worse by the year. So he has to make sure that he plays a little differently with a little bit more poise. Now, I want to just continue my point in saying that this is this past game in which, out of all players out of game one, Ja Morant he's 2 as far as players trying to get in the paint. Now, don't get me wrong. It's only one game. But that's 12 field goal attempts with his average being 8.6. Now, I wanted to compare him to somebody that I know, okay? Because I'm not going to go into all these different players, because there's players that I know very well, because you see the channel is Clan the Spurs fan. And one player that I know very well, is Tony Parker. Tony Parker predicated his game off of getting in the paint. A lot of people point towards this 08-09 season as prime Tony Parker. And as you can see here, his field goal attempts was 7.7, but out of the league, as you can see, a lot of big men, Dwayne Wade right after him, LeBron James not too long after, and Shaquille O'Neal. But as you can see, Tony Parker, he was number 5. He was 5th. So while Ja Morant is sitting at 3rd, Tony Parker was sitting at 5th in his prime. But what happened after that? The season after this, not only did the Spurs have to change the way that they were playing, they also wanted to change the way that Tony Parker played, because they knew Tony Parker is not going to be able to last if he's continuously running into the paint like he's doing. So what did they do? They adjusted, made some adjustments, turned into a way more passing team. And as you can see, Tony Parker isn't in the top 5. He's not in the top 10. He's not in the top 20. He's not in the top 30. He's sitting at 34. He was 34th in the league in getting into the paint. And I know a lot of people will point towards this and say, oh, this is just this one player. Ja Morant won't be that way. Guys, it happens to all of them. And you have to go ahead and keep this in perspective, that Ja Morant has already suffered injuries. Like, while his numbers are incredible and while he is a great talent, he has suffered injuries. So when I said that Ja Morant has 2 choices, this is what I meant. He can either become the next Russell Westbrook, or he can become the next Allen Iverson. Because I think that his explosiveness, his quickness, his ability to score, his craftiness, his creativity and shot creation, his playmaking ability is very similar to those 2. But the difference between those 2 is, I believe that Allen Iverson was much more efficient when it comes to trying to create his own shot and having a little bit more poise when the game is on the line in the 4th quarter. And I understood completely what Ja Morant was trying to do. What he wanted to do was get to the line. And when you get to the line, you get a little bit more easy points. But at the same time, he was getting beat up in that 4th quarter. It was obvious that he was tired, and I think that he really needs to adjust his game. Not completely take away this explosiveness, not completely take away his ability to get to the rim, but at the very least, just try to have a little bit more poise and take some more mid-range shots, because you're good at it. And it's not going to help the team in the long run if he's not on the court. So he's capable of shooting. He's capable of making it happen. Earlier in his career, which is only year 3, but especially rookie year, they didn't really believe that he could shoot. People were kind of playing off of him, but he can shoot. He can be pretty efficient at shooting. So I think that he needs to just kind of take a back seat a little bit. I mean, as far as ramming into the paint, and just try to keep himself healthy in all ways possible. And one thing I want to add as well, piggybacking off of my previous point on Tony Parker, because I know about Tony Parker. Tony Parker, even when he was averaging this many field goal attempts around the rim, he still managed to try to get away from contact quite a bit, whether it be floaters or whether it be just maneuvering his body in a way where he doesn't take a lot of contact. But what I've been seeing from Ja Morant this season, and what I'm seeing thus far in the playoffs, is that he wants that contact every time. And we're going to get some really good highlight plays, but I would much rather him stay healthy for his career. And I don't know if that's possible if he keeps this up. This injury list is not a great list. As you see, left knee injury, a leg injury. It was one game in particular where he was carted off in a wheelchair. This is not a good way to start off your career in this regard. You got to make sure that you stay healthy, man. And the only way you can really do that is be a little bit more poised, especially when the 4th quarter hit, and try your best not to create contact every single time. You don't want to be a Westbrook. You want to be an Allen Iverson. So you guys let me know what you think. Those are my thoughts. Hopefully I articulated, okay. I did it to my best of my ability. I can't even talk straight now. If you disagree, please feel free to leave comments. Let me know. But I'll give it to you guys later. Until next time, deuces.